like Kim asked before, mute your microphones, switch off the video, the cameras, and yes, please feel free and feel welcome. Take part, ask questions if you need to. And from our side, from the province side, I would like to welcome all of you, and also want to thank Tanya Pretoria. She's new. She's our new SES for D8. And you can all learn a lot from Tanya. She's also part of the marking. She's a deputy marker, the end of the final for the grade 12 final exams, and a very competent young lady. And thank you very much, Tanya, for availing yourself. Is there anybody else of the facilitators that want to say something?
Yes, thank you, Rina. Thank you again. Ladies and gents, I just want to say I hope you find this very fruitful session. Like Rina stipulated, if you've got a question, just wait until the end. Raise your hand via the Teams, and then between me and Rina, we will look at the chats and we will look at the hands. There will be enough time to intervene and interact. Thank you, Rina.
All right, thank you, Kim. Tanya, I'm going to hand over to you. Tanya will explain further on how it's going to work and with which paper she's going to start. And yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Tanya. Over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Rina and Kim, for the welcome. I sure hope that you guys can hear me. I also have load shedding, so I have to find myself a spot where I can do the presentation. So I'm sure everyone has received the data. I see someone said they don't have sound. I'm not sure. So I'll be starting with the prelim paper, the prelim 2021 paper. Right. So obviously, as you know, I'll be doing question 5 for the prelim. So I'll be sharing the paper as well as the data file. Right. So here's my paper. Okay.
We can see it. Thank you, Tanya. Just maybe move a little bit back. Yeah,
Yes,
there we go.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to start, like I said, with the prelim 2021 paper. So it's regarding the flights and passengers. Okay, so we will open up the file, the 5 flights file, and then let me just quickly share. Right. I hope it will be visible if I share them side by side. Let's see. Okay. Right. So firstly, we will start with the table passengers. You'll just let me know if it's too small. Is it sufficient if I divide the screen? Is it fine?
Okay. It's fine. Thank you, Tanya.
All right. Okay. So starting with the table, which is usually our easy marks and very easy to score, guys. So it seems like learners are sometimes afraid to start or to attempt access in some cases. But there are really some easy marks to score in access. So we always start with a table. So in this case, we had to open the table passengers, and usually we open it in design view. Starting with question 1, it says apply a database feature on the passenger ID. So in this case, you'll always make sure that you are on that particular field. And it says to ensure that duplicate records cannot be entered. So in that case, obviously you need to know which setting to use for us to make sure that it's not or no duplicates can be entered, and that would be your primary key option where you can activate the primary key to that field. Then question number 2, it says that we need to ensure that the passenger name field will never be left empty. So you make sure that you are on the passenger name field. In this case, never be left empty. We need to look at the properties down here, and that would be your required property. That means that it's always required. Yes, it should not never be left empty or blank. Right, then 5.1.3, it said that we need to change the format of the passenger's surname field so that it always appears in capital letters. Now, I'm sure that you do recall the input character sheet where we have our character codes, and if we use our greater than sign, it refers to the fact that we will always type in capital letters. So we will then go to the format for the passenger's surname. So click on passenger surname, go to the format, and then we are going to say greater than sign, and then we know the information will be typed in capital letters. Right, then 5.1.4, it said that we are going to create an input mask in the flight number field. So make sure you go to the flight number field. And the way we need to do this, they say it must ensure that the user can insert data in the following way. So you'll always divide it up to your bullets. First bullet, 3 compulsory capital letters. So we already know the code for a capital letter. That would be our greater than sign. And remember, we are currently at the input mask since they requested input mask. Okay, I've got some questions there. The screen is currently being shared. Someone says they can't share the screen. The passwords have been sent, should have been sent as well. It's in a Word document, the passwords for the file. Right, sorry, apologies for that. Then let's move on with the question.
Tanya, good afternoon, Tanya. Sorry, can I interrupt?
Oh, yes, sure.
Hello?
Yes, sir, you can.
Yes, Ike. Okay. Send me your email. I'll send you the link. Sorry about that. Okay, bye. Sorry, Tanya, one of the teachers, Ike from D4, is struggling to connect. Can I just start the meeting, Tanya? Sorry, I started with
Yes,
IT.
thank you, sir. No problem.
All right. So I still see there are some people that are starting or still joining the meeting. Welcome to the teachers and the learners. I see currently there's 155 participants. I'm hoping that that the teachers have joined in, especially those that need to. I will be asking my subject advisors just now to see which schools have attended and follow up on the schools. The main purpose for this meeting is for the learners to benefit before the June examination. So we have a practical session this week, and I think next week on the 26th, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just check the calendar. Yes, the 26th, we have one theory session, which is an afternoon session to see how we can go about using the study guide and the new content booklet and make sure that we are ready for the June exams. So I'm hoping that you are able to maximize. This is more for learners than teachers, but I hope, Tanya, I don't see it being recorded. Can somebody record, please? Who's here? Is Grant in the meeting?
Sir, I already started the recording.
Is it recording?
Yes, sir, it is recording.
Oh, okay, because from my side, it doesn't look like it's recording. I don't have the counter that's showing that it's recording. Maybe I can't see it. So please, it's important. I see a lot of teachers, Katlehong Secondary and all other teachers, Langenhoven, others are names I can't see. I see Lisa Steinman is there from Sedelig, and a whole host of teachers are there currently in the meeting. So make sure that your learners are there. If I can just do a check quickly, Angel, from which district are you? I see Angel is logged on. No response. Farid, I see Farid is logged on. Farid, from which district are you?
I doubt it's her, ma'am.
Okay. Fundelwazi, who's from Fundelwazi?
It's not a.
It looks like the reception is not good.
How are they doing?
What's called Dinamica? What's called Dinamica? Joshua Miller, I see it says learner from Curio. That's good that you joined, Joshua. Katlehong Secondary. Okay, welcome, sir. Are your learners with you at school?
Yes, Ekurhuleni South, I'm with the learners.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. Langenhoven. There's a learner that's got his camera on. If you could please switch it off.
Yes, I was about to ask Ria Betswet. Thank you.
Westbury. Okay, thank you very much. I just selected a few. Lucy, you got your hand up? Yes, Lucy? Or is that for Tanya? Okay. Tanya, maybe I suggest that you just increase your screen size slightly so that it's more visible. It was a bit small, but that's fine. Okay, thank you, teachers and learners, for attending. Make sure that you take the best out of it. Like I said, it's 5 days of workshop. I will be toggling in between the IT and the CAT, and hopefully we can get this session off with all the learners. Thank you to Tanya for today that is presenting. If you don't know Tanya Pretorius, she's now the subject advisor in Sedibeng West District. And I think the information that she'll be giving you is very, very useful, because she has all the experience of being an HOD at school level, CAT HOD, and now she's a subject advisor at school level. So thank you very much, Tanya Pretorius, for arranging. Kim is in the meeting. Thank you, Kim. Kim will post the register a little later so that you can fill it out. There's some important information that we need to complete. And it's nice to see some of the learners' faces, but once you show your face, please switch off your camera so that we don't have some lagging. So over to you. Thank you to Rina for arranging this training session. And most importantly, thank you to the learners for attending. Maybe I can have a big shout out from a few learners. Let's see. Can I hear a big shout out? Put your mics on and shout out. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you, learners. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you, learners.
Whispery has no signal because
Westbury. Okay, Westbury has no signal, but we're hearing you. But thank you. So over to you, Tanya. Good luck. I will be moving to IT now.
Hello.
Okay, thank you. So, guys, can we switch off our mics again, please?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. I had a request that I must move a bit slower. I apologize for that. Right. So we are here at the input mask. I hope the screen is clear and visible. Right. So we are busy with the flight number input mask, and we said that we need to ensure that there is a certain format for users to enter the information. So you'll notice that usually when it comes to the input mask, it is in general bulleted instructions so that it's easier for you to also then apply the instruction. Right, so the first bullet says that we need to enter 3 compulsory capital letters. So the first one, capital, we've already established in this question paper that there is the capital letters signal. So then we need 3 compulsory letters. So in order to, I see it seems the screen is lagging a bit. Kim, can I just get confirm? Okay, there we go. It jumped now. Right. So the first one was 3 compulsory.
Hi.
Mzwaki, can you? Thank you. Right. So 3 compulsory letters. If we looked at our input mask character sheet, I'm sure you are familiar with this sheet. So compulsory would mean required, and then we would have 3 letters. So our character code for a required or compulsory letter rather is our letter L. So we've got a capital letter, then we need 3 compulsory letters. So in our input mask, we have capital, and then all right, then 3 capital L's, which is the character code for compulsory letter. Then our next bullet says we need to follow these letters by the @ sign. So in this case, I can just type the @ sign as is. There's no actual code that I need to add to that. Then it says 2 required digits. So required again is similar to compulsory. If we look at our character sheet, our required digit is a 0. So digits from 0 to 9, character code would be 0. So then we would have 2 compulsory or required digits rather, and then it's 1 compulsory letter or digit. Right, so if we look at our character sheet, 1 compulsory digit or letter, that would be your required. There's a letter or digit, it would be your capital letter A. So basically that would be my input mask. It would be the greater than sign, 3. Right, Kim, can you just confirm, do we see the screen there? Someone is saying that they can't see the screen.
No, we can see it. If they, I
Okay.
think they must maybe just log out and log in again.
Okay, they say, someone says when I put the input mask, the screen vanishes. Does the screen vanish?
I see it still.
You can see the screen, okay.
Yes.
Right, there we go. Thank you. Right, so we've got our 3 L's then our @ sign. you would see that automatically there was the / added to the @ which in turn gives us the
Sorry.
literal.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Naledi.
Hi, I
I'm
can't see anything, eh?
Okay. The screen is shared. Others can see it. I'm not sure.
Tanya, I can see the screen, so
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
sure
All right.
what is happening. The
Yeah.
screen
Okay,
is
I'm gonna
visible.
log out and log in again. Sorry,
Yes,
guys.
I
Okay.
think the best thing is to log out and log in because I can share I can see the
See
screen
the
very
screen.
clearly.
Okay.
So it could be a problem on your
Right.
side where your signal is not very strong, or maybe you should just log out and log in again. And please,
Be back in a
teachers
minute.
and learners, please, some of you got your video camera on. I'm not sure who's this guy, Kim. Can we block him or take him
Yeah.
out or
so
what?
I
It's
already
Riabetswe
removed it.
again, Kim. I think if
Yeah,
he does it, we must throw him out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Throw him out of the meeting if they can't follow protocols. And there are learners that are making a noise in the background. Kim, can we throw them out if they don't listen?
Yes, sir. I just want to
Please.
ask Grant to maybe just assist me to make everyone attendees, and then I'm going to disable their mics,
Yes.
and their microphones. So, Grant, if you can just maybe help me make everyone attendees that we can disable the mics and the cameras.
Okay, continue, Tanya. I can see your
Thank
screen
you, sir.
clearly.
Thank you. All right. I'm not sure if this helps. I don't think this helps. Someone asked that I must just share the access, but the size seems very similar to what it was before. Right. So as I mentioned, right, when it comes.
Tanya, you have been muted. Tanya.
Thank you, Kim. I'm not sure how much you've missed now. Right. Okay.
I think we missed the last 5 minutes, so you should go back 5 minutes, Tanya.
Okay, so no problem. All right, so just again, the input mask, like I mentioned, we have our greater than sign for caps, the 3 letters for the compulsory, then with the @ sign, as I'm explaining, I didn't add the, sorry, I didn't add the information for the um, /, it automatically appears since we want to add a literal character, which is the @ sign. Um, then that code automatically appears. Right, then we've got our 2 zeros for the compulsory digit that is required and the character A for a letter or a digit that is required. Right, so it's either the word compulsory or required that will be used, and that's the information you can get there. So that's fairly easy 5 marks to score, guys. It's really, access is not that difficult, especially when it comes to the table and the input mask. And like I said, it's usually always divided into bullets so you can easily track the information. Someone is asking if they can get this. According to my knowledge, the information was shared with you guys. Um, just find out from your subject advisor. Right, let me move on to 515. It says here, due to special circumstances, airlines have declined that flights can only be booked until 30 April 2022. So it says ensure that the departure date, so make sure that you go to the correct field, which they've referred to. Field will assist the user to only enter data from the current date until the last allowed booking date. So in Access, when we refer to the current date, we actually refer to date. Yeah, I'm just going to type it there. So instead of today, we referred to date, open bracket, close bracket. In Excel, when we refer to the current date, we would say today, open bracket, close bracket. So it should be a user should only be able to enter data from the current date up until the last known booking date, which is 30 April. So already we are in 2023. So I'm just going to adjust this for our purpose of teaching so that we just change this to 2024, for example. So from the current date, in this case, it means that we say between the current date and let's use 2024 April 30. Right. So just again, that's the current date. In Access, we refer to date, open bracket, close bracket. And since we had to refer to a range from this date to the allowed booking date, we said between this date and that date. Okay.
Tanya,
There's a lot of requests.
yeah, there's a few questions here. Sorry, Tanya, can I just quickly, ladies and gents, can you type your questions in the chats and then I'll have a look at it? Thank you.
Okay. Someone asked that I can only share the access because the display is poor. I'm not sure. Is the display better if I just share the access? It's still small. That's the thing with access. Unfortunately, the display is very small. Let's see. Okay, so I'm using my magnifier now. Maybe this helps. Okay, now my screen is black, they say. I think it's your screen that's black, not mine. Kim, they're also asking if they can, if we can share the document. Is there a way to share the documents? Because it seems like some schools didn't get them.
Let me quickly see if I can share it here in the chat.
Okay. Okay. According to me, guys, there's many people who are saying the screen is not visible. According to me, the screen is visible and others can see the screen. I can also see my own screen displaying on another device. Okay, thank you. Yeah, according to me, it is visible. Right, so in the validation rule for our departure field, we have then between date, which is the current date, and then the date that was the booking was closed. Mute your screen. I don't know what that means. Okay. Let me move on to the next question then. Right, so question 516 says ensure that the arrival date field has an appropriate data type. So obviously we'll go to the arrival date and we look at the data type. And obviously since it's a date, we will change it to date and time. Right. Okay, people are saying unmute my screen. I don't know what that means. I'm sure that. All right, so that is the table for the passengers database. Right. So it's about what 13 marks, which is very easy to score these marks actually, because it's literally, especially, yeah, many of these. We can maybe say these 4 marks are a bit more complicated, but the rest of the marks is very easy to score. Right. Let me move on to the form. Okay, so this is the form that we need to do. So the form already exists, and they say that we need to make sure that the form appears similar to the screen that is displayed here. Right, then they give us notes and they say that the airline field uses this table as a source, and then this picture is found in the exam folder. So in the end, our form has to look like the example. So if I look at my form currently, Right. So obviously I'm just going to make it 2 screens again so that we can see more or less what we need to do. Okay. So I'm going to now adjust obviously my field text boxes. Kim, you can see the screen, right?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Right, so it's not on my side. For those who can't see the screen, unfortunately, it's not on my side. Please check on your side. Right, so what I'm going to do now is, since you can see all these text boxes are made slightly smaller and thinner, I'm actually selecting all of them at the same time by just clicking, holding in shift, and I can just drag them a bit smaller. Right, and then let's look at what we need here. We need passenger ID, the name, the surname, airport departed, and airline, and then the other 3 fields need to move to this side, more or less. Okay, we can just, approximate. Right. And then as we can see, if we look at the option, or the screenshot that was given, we can see that they've then added the image like they mentioned in this bullet. The image is in the exam folder, so we can go to our controls, insert the image. In your case, it probably won't be there, so you can just browse, go to your folder. Do this, we're going to browse, go to the folder that we are busy with, and then just choose your image, and you can click and drag the image so that it fits more or less where it's displayed on the question paper. Right, let's see what else. Okay, and then like they mentioned in this bullet, the airline field uses the table SA Airlines as a source. Right, so here's the airline field. Now this simply means that if we look at our question paper, you should see in the question paper that the airlines field has a drop-down option in. So we're going to right-click. Okay, then we change this to a combo box. Then obviously I need to go to the properties first, since there's no link created yet. And as we saw, it must link to, I can't remember now. Right, it must link to the airlines table. So we'll just make sure that it links to the airlines, and the source type is already a table. Right, and if we look at our screenshot in the paper again, there's still one more thing that we need to add. Even in the notes, they only mentioned that we are looking at the airline field and we had to insert the picture. You should also have noticed that there is a date and time inserted, right? So whenever there's a screenshot, make sure that you analyze the screenshot properly so that you can see what should be inserted. So the date and time is actually inserted in the footer. Right? If I insert my date and time, automatically it appears in the header. I can just drag it to the footer as well. Okay, so that is the 7 marks for the form. Right, is there anything that I should maybe repeat? Let me repeat the text box option. I'm just going to repeat how to do this. If you have to change your text box to a combo box, you can right click on the text box, change to a combo box. Then we need to go to our property sheet. You can just open it if it's not activated. Go to data, already we know the control source is airline because I've chosen that airline text box, changed it to a combo box. Then currently the row source will be empty if you change it. The row type automatically chooses table and query, but obviously you can change it. It should look familiar to you, the same as a lookup wizard in the table. But in this case, we will leave it as the table and query, since they said that we need to use the table SA Airlines. Right, and then someone is requesting how I inserted the image again. So here we are in form design. I'll come to insert image. Then you can just go to browse. You go to your specific folder. You can click and say OK. Obviously, it creates an option for on my mouse that I can just click and drag and insert my image. Right. Okay, let's move on from the form. Let's go to the query. Right, so query 5.3. We need to open 5.3 and we'll work in design view. Right, so you'll always come to design view. This is also where we go for marking. If we want to mark something, we'd usually come to the design view to mark. So let's look. It says display the records of the airports that use airfields. So I'm just going to stop there. So in order for me to know which airports uses airfields, I'm going to go and view my data so that I just have an idea. So here's the airport name, and I can see that the word airfield appears now and then inside the field names. Right. So what I would do at airport name, go back to the design view. Okay. So since the airfield is at the end of the airport name, I will start with my wildcard asterisk and then just type in airfield. So automatically the like will be added. So it means I need information that is anything like whatever starts with airfield. Just maybe go in a bit. There we go. Right. So I've got my asterisk there in front of the word airfield. Okay. So when I go and view my information, we will see that it's all the airports with the word airfield at the end that is now being listed. Right. Then the question, besides the airfields, okay, it says and. So this means it should also be in the same line, which have more than 20 aircrafts. Okay, so if we go back to our access, we look at total aircraft. So we're looking for airport names that has airfield in them and more than 20 aircrafts. Right, so the fact that we are using and is just to indicate that it must be in the same criteria row that we need to insert that particular criteria. So we can view, and you can see that there are 6 with the name airfield in them, as well as the totals are more than 20. Right. Okay, let's look at query 5.4. In this case, you had to modify the query so that it displays the total number of aircrafts per province. Right. So here we've got the different provinces. We can see some of them repeat, and then here's aircrafts, and they've got different numbers. So we want to know the total for each province. So in this case, I'm going to activate my totals row. Right, and if you come to the bottom, you'll see a row was added. It will now be grouped by each province. And then I'm going to say that I want the total. So in this case, I need to add a function. It will sum all the aircrafts per province. So if I view them, I can now see that my provinces have all been grouped and those totals have been added for each province. Kim, can you hear me?
Yes, Tanya, I can hear you.
Okay, because people say the sound is bad and yeah. So I'm not
I
sure.
think it might be just a signal problem. Maybe just try and log out and log in again, ladies and gents, if you can't. But I do see Tando said, please, can you repeat this question
Yes,
again?
I will do that. Right. But you can hear me clearly, Kim. You can hear me.
I
You got
can hear you
it.
perfectly, Tanya.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to just do it again. Let me take this away. So this is how the query looked initially. Obviously, I'm going to just start it again, open it. So since it was saying that we need to get the totals for each province, I'm going to activate the totals row. If you look on your ribbon, right, so it opens up the totals row. Currently, it says there's group by. It's listed on both of the fields. So you'll see that it actually sorted them now. But what we want to do is instead of having them listed as many, we want to rather take this and total them. So that's why I go to my total aircrafts in the total row. I open up the drop down box and it depends obviously what the question said. In this case, it wants the total, so I will use sum. And there we have the provinces grouped, and you can see automatically also the field now changed to sum of totals. The field name rather changed to sum of totals because we've used sum to indicate the uh, function for the grouping. Right. I hope that was fine. Okay, let's look at query 5.5. Okay, it says that we are going to work with query 5.5 in design view. It says airport needs to budget 35 Rand per seat for maintenance of an aircraft. Let me just open this one. Right. Okay, so now it says insert a new calculated field called total budget. Now, what I always say is you stop here immediately, then you go to your database and you already insert total budget. We make the colon, which is similar to the equal sign. And for now, I'm just going to add a 1 after the colon so that I can know that I've already created my field. Right, so I've got my field created. Now I just need to establish what this field must do. So let's look at the question. Right, it says then this calculated field should determine the total amount that should be budgeted for the seats, obviously, right? So we said, yeah, we read that the budget is 35 Rand per seat. So obviously we know somewhere we're going to use 35 as well. So I can immediately even type my 35 there, which would also give you marks in the end. Then let's see how we need to do this calculation. So obviously I'm going to use the seats, the total seats, and each seat is 35 Rand, and that will be the new budget, right? So it's the field should be able to calculate the total amount of the new budget. So we have a field name called total seats. So I'm going to take this field name and insert my field name into the square brackets, right? Then multiply that by 35 because each seat should be budgeted for 35 Rand. Right, so that is your total, sorry, budget for seats. So the total budget, sorry. Okay, there we go. So it's total budget, colon, which is seen as your equal sign. Then we take the total seats field and multiply 35 Rand. Right, so again, even if you have left your field like this, you would at least get 2 marks, right? So instead of just leaving it blank, my advice is always, you know already what the field name should be. There's nothing difficult about that. You insert the new calculated field, you put the colon in, and then you see what numbers should be added for you to at least score some of the marks, right? If you know the field name is easy to identify. Sometimes you'd add the field name. Again, even if you can't do the whole function or calculation, at least do some of it so that you can score some of the marks. Right, then there was another part of the question that said, ensure that the field displays in South African currency. So again, this is also an easy mark to score. You didn't even have to do the whole function, but you can just activate your property sheet, go to format, and change it to currency. Right, so that would have given you another mark. So let's say, for example, you just left this. Total budget 35, and then you changed it to currency. You could see this is worth 5 marks. For that, you would have gotten 3 out of 5 if you just did this with the currency. All right. Okay, let's move on to the report. Right, it says there, open the report in design view, add the necessary grouping, and calculate the total seats available below each province. So they said add the necessary grouping, and as you read on, to add the totals below each province, and you can see that it's only grouped on the airport type. So the grouping we need to add in this case is for province. And then since the question says we need to add the total seats available. So again, total would be that we need to sum to get the total amount. So in for should be in the footer. Let me just, yes, below each province, right? So below meaning in the footer. So what I'm going to do is, let me see if it's clear. Right. So if I come down to my grouping, I have the option to click on more. Then you will find your option here that says with no totals, but I want to add totals. So I'm going to go to the totals, and I specifically want to know about the total seats. And what type do I want to know? I want to sum them because I want to know the full total. And since I want it below each province, I'm going to say in the subtotal group footer because I want it in the footer of the province. So that's why I will choose subtotal. Right. So you can see automatically my province footer was activated and the function was added to calculate the total number of seats. Right. Okay, so that's your 4 marks to score there. Alternatively, let's also just type it in. Instead of using your option down here, you can insert your text box. Then you can come say equal sign, sum, open bracket, then obviously
Tanya, would it be
yes.
possible for you just to zoom in a bit? Sorry, your screen didn't in the or we're struggling to see where you selected the text box because they said they can't see where you typed or where to get it, how to type. How do I type? Joker asked.
Yes, I'm thinking, do they ask how do they type the function? Joker, can you just say specifically, do you want to know how to type in the function? Uh, okay, wow. Okay, because I didn't type this function in. Maybe let me do it again quickly. Uh, let's see. Okay, right. Let me just zoom in here again. So when I come to my province grouping and I go to no totals, I just chose total seats, sum, and then I choose where I want this function. So if you look at the province group, currently there's nothing in the province group. But if I'm going to choose show in subtitle, automatically the function is typed for me actually, if I choose that option. That's one of the methods. I'm not sure if that was the question. Alternatively, if you type it in, you would go insert a text box, right, which also has a label. And then obviously I would just type in my function sum and then use total seats, which is exactly similar to this, except that I didn't have to type it in the first time. But if you type it in,
Asa.
right. I'm not sure, Kim, if that answers Focus question. So hopefully it assists. Right. Okay, so that was our prelim question 5. I'm not sure if there's any questions regarding this paper. This is this cat. Right, so someone is asking for the form again. So let's quickly look at the form. The form is also quite easy to score marks in. You can see it's 7 marks. Right, let me quickly go to a new database for now. Mm. Okay. Right, let me just quickly remove these ones. I didn't save my original now. Okay, so just a reminder, the first thing obviously was when I just dragged the boxes smaller, and then we moved these 3 fields to the side, right? So that's fairly simple and easy to do. Please remember you need to save time, so that's why it's easier to control and click, try to do everything together. Then let's do the image. So you'll go inserting the image, browse for the image, go to your exam folder, insert the image, and then you click and drag the image to approximately where it's requested to be, right? And then the airline source that we need to do on the airline field. So we right click on the text box, change it to a combo box. Then make sure you are in the properties. So the control source already, like I said, we know we've clicked on airline. The type in this case should be a table. And then the table we need to refer to is the airlines table, right? So this is a very important step after you have changed your text box to a combo box. Obviously, in some cases, your question paper will be a list or something that they give you. Then you can choose value list, and then you can type in your own options, for example, right? Something like that. But like we said, in this case, it is the table airlines. Okay. And then again, like I said, you need to, whenever you get a screenshot, make sure that you analyze the screenshot, because there was this date and time that's also supposed to be added. So the date and time, like I mentioned, usually it automatically adds to the header. Then we can just move it to the footer. Right. Okay. Let me move on to the June paper. Is there anything else on this paper that someone would like to know? Okay, someone also asked for 5.5 repeat. Let me quickly just go to 5.5, which is the right. So again, this one is the calculated field. So like I mentioned, whenever you read the question, whenever it says insert a new calculated field called total budget or whatever the case may be, immediately go to your design view and add that field's name with a colon and just the number 1. So at least you know for a fact that you'll get 1 mark if you insert the correct field name. Then you can go and see what else you need to add for this field to calculate. So obviously we said this field needs to calculate the total amount of the budget that is per seat, right? So we know it's 35, that's the amount we're going to use, right? And then obviously 35 times, then we are going to use the total seat. So we put total seats as the field name. Okay, just zoom in again there, right? So there I've got total budget, 35 times total seat. Right, so again, as I mentioned, even if you didn't put the multiply the seats, at least if you did total budget, which is the field name you should create, and if you've used the amount 35, you would score the marks. Then the other part of the question said that you need to ensure that it displays in currency. So then obviously you'll go to change the format to currency. Right. Okay, I hope that one helps as well. Yeah. Angel, I think you are welcome to leave if you want the meeting to end. It won't be a problem. Okay, someone is just asking me to show you about that row again. Okay, so when it comes to the row source, obviously this is the one you need to choose depending on what the question paper says. You just come and choose the table that they are referring to. If the row source type refers to a table or query, it depends if it should be a list. The list is usually added in the question paper, then you type the row source in the question paper. Right. Okay, let me move on to the other paper, the next paper. Right, so let's look at the table. It's the database containing information of volunteers. So the table, we have to insert the table 5.1. So we open the table 5.1. Okay, then, right, so the first one, they said we have to insert a new field called region ID as follows. So I'm just going to go to the side. The first one, it says it should be placed as the first field. So obviously we're going to right click, insert a row as the first field. Right, so it should be region ID. Then the next bullet says set this as the primary key field. That's simple. Then set the data type of this field to automatic number. And then it says change the new values property of the field to assign random numbers. So if we come to the properties, we get new values, then it should be random. Right, so that's fairly simple and easy, straightforward option for 5 marks. Very simple to do. Okay, 5.1.2, it says study the data in the region code field in the data sheet view. So in this case, we need to analyze the data a bit. So we are looking at the data in the region code. If you look at the data, you will find some similarities. Right, so definitely all of them have 2 letters in them, and they start with, they start with 2 letters, and the letters are capitals, right? Then if I look, I can see numbers following these letters, but the numbers are not always the same. You can either get 3 digits, or there seems to be 4 digits, and in this case, there's only 2 digits. Right, so, okay, let's move to the code. Okay, so it says here, we need to go back to the design view then. Then we first need to set this field size to match the data. So if we look at the field size, there was 2 digits and at most, 2 letters and at most 4 digits. So the field size maximum would be a 6 field size characters. And then it says create an input mask to ensure that the user must insert a code in that required format. So if we look at this format, and I just jumped to, my input mask sheet again. So I've got my input mask sheet, then I'm looking at this. Obviously, like we said, there's capital letters again, so we know already we're going to use the greater than sign. Then we can see all of them have 2 letters, so that will be our L. That's 2 L's. And then, like we mentioned, there's digits, but they're not always the same amount of digits. So in some cases, I have 2 digits. So definitely in most cases, there's 2 digits. In other cases, there are 3, and in some cases, there are 4. So those are possibilities of the digits, right? So if we look at our options here, we already know we're going to use the capital, we're going to use the L. Then we need to now determine what character are we going to use for the numbers. According to me, everyone can see the screen that is shared, yes? Right, so let's look at the digits. Okay, so definitely we need 2 required digits, because in all the cases there are 2 digits or more, right? So the least one is this one, it's 2 digits. So definitely 2 digits that's required. Then I have maybe one other digit and another one in some cases, right? So that will be my digit that is not necessarily required. So I'll go to my option greater. Right. So we have greater than 2 capital letters, then 2 digits that should definitely be there, and then I'm going to use my 9 for the digits that is sometimes there and sometimes not, meaning they're not required, but they could be added, right? So it's the greater than sign for the capitals, then 2 letters, definitely 2 digits, and maybe 2 additional digits. Okay. Right, then 513, it says change the staff available field to automatically display the value 10 in all new records. So in that case, we will go to the default value. So make sure that you are in the correct field. You go to the default value and it should automatically display the number 10. So you just add 10 to the default value. Right. So that is the table. Let's move to the form. In this case, they said we need to create this form, so I'll be going to create. So the form should be based on the table volunteers. And according to this list, it seems like all the fields are used. So I'm just going to add all the fields to the form, then go next. Right, and we save this as form 5.2. Right, so obviously we'll go to the design view so that we can follow the instructions. So firstly, the instruction, the first one, it says insert an appropriate control to the form header and enter your exam number to the control, to the form. So I'm going to go to controls, and in this case, it will be the label that I should add. Okay, and it should be in the form header, anywhere in the form header. Since you don't have an exam number yet, you can just type your name and surname for now. We are currently working on the supplementary paper for 2021, question 5. Right. Then the next bullet says change a property setting of a control containing your exam number so that the exam number will not be visible in the form view. So in other words, this is the form view, so this should not be displaying in the form view. It should only remain in the data sheet view. So I will go to the properties. And you will find the option in the format, and it says visible. And maybe zoom in there. So there's visible, and you change visible to no. So then obviously it still remains in the design view, but the moment I go to the form view, it disappears. Right. Okay, then the last bullet, again, let's quickly practice how to create the combo box. So it says change the country to volunteer field. So make sure you change the field. So reminder that you've got labels and text boxes. So in this case, we'll click on the text box and we need to change the text box to a combo box, right? Okay, and again, we need to go to the properties. You'll go to data. Okay. Right, and then we look at the sources. So the control source, we are busy with the correct field. Then we are looking at the table because they said we need to use country table in the question paper. You will notice that they said table, country table. So we will keep our row source as table query as it is displaying in the row source type, and then the row source particularly will be the table country. Right. Okay. Right, so that's the form. Yeah, also an easy 5 marks to score when it comes to the access forms. Okay, let's move on to the query. Okay, query 5.3. It says we need to display only the records where volunteers are return volunteers, right? So let's look at how we can identify if they are return volunteers. I'll open up my data sheet view just to identify. So obviously I can see that the data type is yes, no. So how do I know if they are return? Obviously it's a tick, which in turn means yes. So I can go to my return volunteer and immediately put yes. If I view them, I can see that these will only display so far the return volunteers, right? Notice as I'm doing the question, I like to split them up. It's easier to score marks that way. So again, first bullet, that says display only the records where the volunteers are return volunteers. So that's what I've done, right? Then it says, and those who are willing to help for 20 weeks or more. So they must be return volunteers. And at the same time, they must be able to help for 20 weeks or more. So 20 and greater than equal to, right? So notice that it is one sentence, one bullet, and this and refers to the fact that it should be, this should be true and this should be true. So they must be return volunteers and they should be able or willing to work for 20 weeks or more. Right, then it says display the records in alphabetical order according to surname. Right, so this is the end of how my query should look. I displayed in the surname in ascending order, number of weeks is 20 or more, and they are those who are return volunteers, right? So in the same criteria line, I would add those options. Okay. Let's look at query 5.4. So query 5.4, in this case, it says that we should display the name, surname, country to volunteer, and medic service. So we can see that the volunteer should not display. So I will just untick the option for volunteers. Then, right, the bullet says here, display only records of volunteers who volunteer for any treatment excluding HIV and AIDS. So if I go for medical service, the easiest in this case would be not, because I need to exclude those from HIV and AIDS, right? So any medical service, but not those from HIV and AIDS. Okay, so it's just not that I would insert. And then it says, and only, it disappeared now. There we go. Right. Then it says, and only volunteers for Zimbabwe or Angola. So obviously this is the country. So and meaning it should be both these countries, Zimbabwe, and in this case I need to say or because I can only be in one or the other. So Zimbabwe or Angola. The reason I'm placing them in the same row is because both of them should be true to the medical service as well. Alternatively, you could say or Angola, but then you need to make sure that you also include the medical service for Angola, because it's treatment that excluding HIV, and for Zimbabwe it should be excluded, as well as for Angola it should be excluded. Right. Okay, let's move on to query 5.5. Okay, so in this case again, I can immediately see, the moment I see something like this, I know that I need to activate my totals row. In this case, it's a screenshot, and I can see it says the sum of. So I know I'm going to activate my totals row in this case. So immediately you go to your totals row, and we know it says sum, right? So I'm going to display the information side by side so that you can see that even though I've done that, it doesn't display the correct information yet. So notice what the difference is. What is the issue? If you look at the dates that is currently in the web on the access, you can see that these dates include dates from 2020 and 2022. But if you look at the dates on the screenshot, you will notice that the dates are only in the year 2022. So what we need to do in this case is we're going to go to our start date, and we are then going to we need to then say that the dates need to be between the year 2022, the 1st of January, and obviously the 31st of December, so that we can get the correct, sorry, okay, so that we can get the date. So it's from the 1st of January up until the 31st of December in the year 2022 that we need to look at, or extract rather, in this query as well. Okay, then lastly, let's look at the report quickly. Also easy marks to score in a report usually. Okay, this is a 9 marks in this report. So the first one, we have to open the report. Then the first bullet said you had to insert the 5 rescue image. So again, let's go to insert image. You can browse the image, go to your exam folder, and then insert this image. So you can click and drag the image. Then in particular, what they want us to do with the image is to resize the image box so that it's 1.6 centimeter high and 2.2 centimeters wide. So obviously I need to go to the properties, format, and you'd look at your width. Your width needs to be 2 centimeters, and your height needs to be 1.6 centimeters. Right. Right. So you'd notice some white spots on the sides. It then says the whole image must fill the image box. So in that case, it means that the picture mode must be set to stretch so that the whole image fills that box. Okay, so let's just go here again. So I had to change the mode so that it stretches, and I had to change the width to 2 centimeters and the height to 1.6 centimeters in order for the image to fit. Right, so that was bullet number 1. Then bullet number 2 says that we need to add another grouping to the report on the return volunteer field. So here's my group and sort. Just for those who are not sure, if you don't see your group and sort, you activate group and sort pop-up box. Then we're going to go to return volunteer to activate the header. It then says to insert a function in the medical service group footer to determine the number of volunteers per medical service. So the number of volunteers, we need to count the number of volunteers. So again, I'm going to go to my more option, add a total. I want to count how many there are, and it needs to be in the footer, in the group footer. So automatically you can say, see the group footer activated, medical service footer, and the function was added for me as counting the names of the members. Then the last bullet says insert a suitable label for the function. So I will go to my controls, click on label, add the label that says total volunteers. Right. So obviously as I display them, there's my total volunteers per medical service. Right. Okay. Okay, that is the question for the supplementary paper, question 5. Right, is there any other questions regarding question 5 that you guys would like to know? Anything that I can maybe show again?
Tanya, while you're waiting, can I just ask everyone to please remember to complete the attendance register? Tanya, we can't hear you. I don't know if you know that you are muted.
Yes, sorry, no, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so you want, okay, someone wants the 5.6 bullet number 3.
Your screen is also off, Tanya.
Yes,
We
yeah, I'll share
okay.
again. It's fine, thanks.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Okay. Okay, so bullet number 3, inserting a function. In this case, particularly, they wanted the function in a group footer. So okay, so you can just activate your group and sort. Then you come to the group where you want the function to be. Click on more. Then you will find with no totals, but we want to add a total. And in this case, they just want us to count the number of people. So we can just use their names or their surnames, whichever field. And then the type, in this case, you can only get 2 types when it comes to names. So I'm just going to count the values. And since they particularly, since they particularly want it in the footer, you will choose to make the subtotal in the group footer. Automatically your function appears there for you. And then obviously they said that we had to add the label for function. Okay, anything else maybe? I hope that was all right. Okay, people just want the register, Kim. I'm not sure if you can share it again.
I'll share it. There's learners that are asking, just complete it, please, as well, or confirm with your educator if they have completed it. There is no specific learner register. It's a register per school, and for the districts. Thank you.
Okay, then someone was also asking for a repeat of query 5.5. I'm not sure if it's a new. Let me do that as well.
I also saw there's a question. Please repeat 5.6 bullet 3. I don't know if you've
Yeah,
explained that. Is
that
it
one
okay?
I've done, yes.
Yeah.
Let me quickly do this one again. All right, so someone just also asked for the 5.5 query. Let me just go there again. So whenever we see this, okay, in this case, we need to obviously analyze the screenshot. So the first thing that makes me think of a totals row is when I see a field name and the field name has a sum or one of the functions in them. So that's when I know that I need to activate my totals row. So in the design view, I'll open up my totals row and I know immediately where to go for the sum. So it's the numbers of week and I'll choose sum. So then obviously, if I view my query in database view, I can see that it is not exactly the same as it is in our question paper. So if I notice, the first thing I notice is if I look at the dates, I can see that these dates are various dates in 2020 or between 2020 and 2022. But if I look at these dates, obviously it's only the dates in 2022. So I then need to go to my start date and add a criteria so that I only have dates between the 1st of January 2022 and the 31st of December 2022. And then I will find that my query displays exactly the same as the table in the question paper. Right, I hope that one helps. Is there anything else that anyone
Tanya,
Yes, Kim?
the one school asked, Hoërskool Elspark. Hi, Tanya. Can we also just have the learners insert a text box and manually type the function
Yes.
in the text box together with the label for it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was just actually showing, yeah, the previous one I did show that, yeah. By all means, instead of using your more option, learners are welcome. I mean, there's various methods. They can use the text box control, and then they would obviously type in count, and we can use the asterisk, which means is count all the records. And then the text, the label is already there for them, yeah. That is, yeah, it's not, yeah, it's just a method maybe that I was showing, but I mean, we've got our options of using the text box. You can use more, and yeah, there's some other methods as well. But yeah, for the learners maybe that needed a shortcut or that wanted something that's a little bit easier to remember, this is one of the methods maybe to use if they would like to. All right, thank you, Kim. I'm not sure if there's anything else.
No, there's nothing, no other questions that I can see on my side yet, Tanya. Maybe, Tanya, I don't know if you are open for it. Maybe we can, because there's still a few minutes left, maybe we can let them ask any access related question to you that they might not have seen in the question paper, but maybe we can assist them. I don't know if you are
Yes,
up
sure.
to that.
Sure, no
So,
problem.
yeah, I think, ladies and gents, if you've got any other access question, anything related to access from a past paper or an activity that you've done, and you would like to ask Tanya, now is the golden opportunity to ask it and that we can help you.
Yes, there's a question, Kim, from who's that?
Zoli, I see your hand is up. You can talk. Any? Is there? Let's see in the chats quickly.
No, I see there's
Tanya, here's a
something.
question. Please show us how to change the background color on a specific field in a form, not the form background, but the field background.
Okay, so obviously I've got my field. This is the field label. This is the field text box, right? So it depends on the question. You would click on the label or the text box, or if you need both, you could just right click, and if you go down, you would see that there's a fill color, and you could just choose that particular color. So it's right click on that text box or label, and then you would choose the particular color just to fill that box. Right, then someone says, please show again how to make the label visible or not visible. All right, so in this case, we had to open up the properties, and you would see that there's a visible option. So I've clicked on that label, and in the properties, there's a visible option in the format. So in other words, to make it visible or not, then you can just choose no, which means it will not be visible in the data sheet view or the form view, sorry. Okay.
Then
I
there's
hope that
another
helps.
one that says, please explain the use of 0 and 9 in the input mask. And then Tando is asking again to show the background. They say,
Oh,
please
did they
show
miss
us
it?
again.
Okay. Okay, no problem. Here we go. Okay, let me do it slower. I don't know. Okay, so let's take the header box. So I can right click. Okay, let me show you more than one option. Let me zoom out. Okay, I hope you can see. Right, so let's take this header option. I'm right clicking in the header option. And then if you scroll down, you will see a fill with a slash back color. And then you could choose to fill the background color for that label or text box. Alternatively, you can go to your format ribbon. Seems like it's a bit slow going through. There we go. And then you have shape fill like we have in Word or Excel or wherever, PowerPoint. So you have your shape fill where you can also just fill the shape with a color. Okay. I hope that's fine.
Okay, remember the question that Oli has asked about the
Yes.
use of the 0 and the 9?
Yes, I'm going to go back now. I'm just seeing that someone is asking for a button. So while I'm in the form, so if you need to insert a button, obviously here's your controls. Okay, then I can just go to my button option. It obviously depends what the question says or what you need to link the button to. So I click on the button, then I need to now instruct the command what the button needs to do. So it depends what your button needs to do. Since this is a form, I'm going to choose form operations. Then I can say, should this button open a form, close the form, print the form? Let's choose print the form. Then I can choose next. Then I'm saying it should link to this particular form. And then do I want the printed to display as a picture or the text to say print form? Then that's the button. Right, I hope that helps whoever asked for that. Okay, let's go to the 0 and the 9. So the 0 character code in the input mask is when I need to enter digits between 0 and 9, and they are compulsory. So any digit between 0 and 9, and I have to insert them. When I use the 9, it basically comes down to the same if I want to use 0 or 9, but that is not required. So if I want to use it or not, but it's not a must. If I'm saying 0, I'm saying I must use this digits. If I use 9 as a character, I'm saying I could use digits, but it's not a must, right? The same with the L. I must use letters. The question mark is I could use letters. So the one is compulsory and the other one is optional. It's not a must. I'm not sure if that helps the person who asked.
Here's another question, Tanya. Please show us how to create / insert
The
button or
button, yes,
command.
I've done
Oh,
that.
no,
Yeah.
sorry. That's I mean the one before that. Please show us to automatically set time and date.
Okay, well, I'm not sure I understand that question. Can someone help me understand it? What does that mean? To automatically set time and date. I'm not sure if they refer. Okay. I'm not sure if you're referring to this date and time. Constance, maybe you can just clarify that. But if it's the date and time you need to insert here, I don't know. Do you need to know where to set it? Automatically set. Okay, this is where we usually insert the date and time, and it automatically inserts the date and time, the current date and time. I'm not sure if that helps. Constance will just say. Kim, I'm not sure if I missed anything.
No, I'm looking now. I see everyone just says thank you. One last question, or if is there anyone else with a last question that is access related? Please, ladies and gents, to remember to complete the attendance register. This will be given to your facilitators. There were over 100 participants and only 60 people have completed this Google form. Please make sure that you complete it. Tomorrow will be the next meeting. I just want to check. I think, help me quickly, Tanya. Tomorrow is,
It's question 7, the integrated questions.
yeah, the integrated. Thank you. Yeah. So, ladies and gents, tomorrow the links has been shared to your facilitators, please, or educators. Please make sure that you follow up with them and to get it, and then that we will work from the same question papers. So if you Essos, your hand was up. Do you have a question? Gladwin, your hand is up. If you guys can't use your mics, quickly type your questions in by the chat. Will there be a session? These are the sessions now that we're using. This week is the practical, and then on the 26th is the theory as well. The 26th of May is when we will have a theory session. Any other questions, anyone?
Someone wants to know about a lookup wizard. Let me quickly do that.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. I'm not sure, Letabu, maybe you can clarify. Are you talking about June exams or other exams then? Because this is for the June exams. I'm not sure if you're referring maybe to other exams. Oh, June exams. Yeah, these are for the June exams. All right, let me quickly show you the lookup wizard. I'm just going to create any now. Okay, so obviously when you have a field, I'll just call it lookup. Okay, so there's various options. So if you create the field from scratch, you can open up the lookup wizard. And like we've done before, you can either link it to a table or a query, right? That's what we did in the form. Or sometimes you will be requested to type your own values. So if I type my own values, 1, 2, 3, 4, that'll be the lookup, right? So currently it says the data type is short text, but if you go to the lookup, your value list will appear as 1, 2, 3. Let me show you. Let's do the country. If I do the country and I do the lookup and we link it to the table, then I'll link it to the table country. That's the field we will use. Those are the countries already inserted for you. And that's how it will appear in your lookup. So both of them are saying short text, but if you go to your lookup property, it will show you the options. If the field already appears maybe with some of the options, you can also alternatively do the following, and maybe some of the options are there and you had to go and edit, then it's just a matter of going to the lookup and adding your option. I hope that helps whoever asked. Glad one, I think, yeah. Okay. Kim, there's a question there. They say some questions on the form they're not sure of.
Sorry, Tanya, I'm talking here and then to get unmuted. Okay. If the students, please make sure that your educators completed. So please follow up with your educators. Yeah, that is what I can assist you with. Please, I just want to remind the rest, the educators then specifically, to please, please, please complete the attendance register. Tanya, I just want to thank you. I don't know if Rina is here. Rina, are you here?
Yes, I'm here, Kim.
I think we can end off because I see Tanya answered quite a few questions that's not even on the question paper related. Would you agree or should we still
Yes.
wait a while?
No, I agree with you. I think Mr. Ali is busy with the IT meeting. So from my side, thank you, Kim, for helping out the whole afternoon. You're really doing a good job. Thank you, Tanya, for presenting. I'm sure all the learners learned a lot. And thank you for answering questions that was not on the paper. And to all the educators and all the learners, please attend all the other days as well. There's tomorrow will be the integration. On Wednesday, the Excel. On Thursday is HTML. And on Friday is the Word section of the paper, of that same two papers. So educators, make sure that all your learners receive the paper, have them in front of you. And yes, I think we can release everybody now. Thank you for attending. Thank you for signing the attendance register, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Busani, your hand is up. If you want to quickly ask a question while the people are leaving, you're more than welcome to. Busani, your hand is up. I don't know if you want to maybe type in. Rosie, your hand is up. Is there something you want to ask?
Thank you, Kim. I think we can call it the afternoon. Thank you.
Thanks, Rina, but I have to wait until everyone leaves, then I can get the recording.
No
So,
problem. Thanks,
thanks.
Steve. Thanks for everything. Hi, Kim.
Hoi, Rina.
Hi. Hoe gaan dit met jou?
Alright, dankie.
Ai, Sham, ek was eintlik heeltemal verbaas en jy het dit so goed gedoen vandag, jong. Voel jy darm alright?
Ja, jong. Ek
Is
ek
dit?
hou maar, ek fight maar tot die einde, né?
Ag, sis tog man. Nee,
Ja.
verskriklik dankie. Regtig
Ag
waar
nee,
vir
maar
jou
dankie vir
moeite.
jou, Rina.
Ag nee, jette, nee, ek moet sê dit is ons goedjies was gereël.